for dinner.
All right, do you know what this is? Honey cinnamon oat milk latte, made at home for free. Now that I've had my coffee, we can chat. Hey, what's up? Hello, my name is Stefania. Welcome to my channel, and I am so glad we found each other. If you are new around these parts, I was a Starbucks barista for 4 years of my life. 4 years that I will never get back. I'm just kidding. I actually don't regret being a Starbucks barista in its entirety. I actually don't. I would not trade my barista years for anything, because that character development, mwah. I've done a lot of videos over the past year on all things Starbucks. How to land an interview, how to land the job, interview questions and best answers, etc., etc. But I don't think I've ever really delved into this topic. My regrets and my revelations, if you will. Because truth be told, although I don't regret being a barista, there are some things that I wish I could go back and do over, do them differently. So allow me to share this with you. The things that I wish I knew when I was a barista at Starbucks. Honestly, just a barista in general. When my first day of corporate Starbucks came, I almost cried. Pretty sure I did cry. If you are new to Starbucks lingo, there is a difference between licensed stores and corporate stores. Corporate stores are typically standalone stores. They have a drive-through. They're on every street corner in America. Now, licensed stores are Starbucks stores that are inside of a grocery store. Some mall kiosk Starbucks are licensed. Basically, what that means is that that store is licensed by the company that it's inside of. When you see a Starbucks inside of a Target, yes, it is Starbucks, but Target as a corporation licenses their products. So technically, Starbucks licensed store baristas are, yes, Starbucks baristas, but they're technically Target employees. It's really convoluted and kind of weird, but just know the difference. Standalone is corporate, inside of somewhere is licensed. Now, I started off at a licensed store. I worked inside of a Target, a Starbucks Target. And no, other way around, Target Starbucks. I'm sorry, I'm only like 5% of the way down. It's 9 in the morning, love. I'm just waking up. A year after I started at my licensed store, I found my way on over to a corporate store. Corporate stores typically open at like 4:30 in the morning. They also typically have drive-thrus. My first shift at my corporate store was a morning opening shift, and I had to be there at 4:30 a.m. I got up, I got ready, I drove in the dark over to my corporate store. I ate a small bag of flavor blasted goldfish in my car while I waited for the lady with the keys to arrive, also known as my morning shift manager. I started my first day, and to my surprise, it was absolute insanity. However, after a while, I got used to the insanity, and honestly, my corporate Starbucks became my second home. Mostly because other than being at my actual home, I was at Starbucks the other 50% of my time. Honestly, more like 80% of my time. I got to know my coworkers very well, my managers very well, the regulars very well. My store was the highest volume store in the district, so we were busy at all times. See the time? It's Starbucks busy o'clock, okay? Shortly after I started building trust with my team, naturally. So much trust that very quickly, everybody started pawning their shifts that they did not want onto moi, your girl. My store manager frequently ambushed me with shifts that needed covering. And because I was still small and young and a people pleaser, I said yes to everything. I was overworked and underpaid, as some may say. I became burnt out very quickly. I was still in high school at the time. I was working pretty much every weekend night. And then on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, my typical shift was 2 to 10:30. I actually was at Starbucks my senior year of high school, probably between 70 to 80% of my time. I lost time with friends, I lost time with family, activities, things I loved, all because I was young and I did not know how to say no. Babe, this is my first thing I want to tell you guys. At some Starbucks stores, they will push you as far as you will let them. If you are always saying yes, they're always going to ask you. Grow a backbone. I know you can, because I did. And learn how to say no to people. Learn how to say no to your store manager. Learn how to say no to your shift managers. Learn how to say no to your coworkers. I know that it's gonna feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're new and you're trying to make a good impression on your team, good impression on your managers. But it's not worth the exhaustion, the lack of personal life, lack of free time, lack of real meals. Hunty boo boo, you cannot survive off of bacon goudas and peanut butter and jelly protein boxes. Trust me, I tried. And that's if the peanut butter and jelly protein boxes aren't sold out by the time it's your lunch. Value thyself, value thyself's health. and personal life. To my people pleasers out there, I empathize with you, I see you, I hear you, I get it. But we gotta grow up out of that, baby. Moving on to the next thing that I wish I knew when I was entering the world of Starbucks. Coffee sip break while the screen tells you to like this video and subscribe to Yo Girl. Listen to the screen or 5 years of mediocre coffee. Ooh. Period. Drinks. There are a lot of them, an infinite number of possibilities of Starbucks drinks that can be created behind the counter at any given moment. It is a big memorization job, which I'm assuming you've probably gathered that by now. These drinks get liquid cane sugar, these drinks do not. These drinks get coffee base, these drinks get cream base, this drink gets 5 shots of espresso, but this drink gets only 4. I know, it seems overwhelming, especially just me talking about it if you've never experienced it before, but from the bottom of my heart, I promise you, it is not as intimidating as it appears. Eventually you do get the hang of it, it becomes second nature, and honestly becomes muscle memory. Like, it's so repetitive that you're just like, yep, this drink gets cream based, this one gets coffee based. You can kind of like shift into autopilot or maximum overdrive, depends on what type of day it is, and make all of these drinks. I'm not worried about that. However, having 4 years of experience under my belt is a lot different than somebody who has never experienced being a barista before. I'm gonna be honest with you. During your training process, there are going to be points where you do get overwhelmed. Do not, and I repeat, do not do what I did. I did not ask questions. And that was easily the worst decision I could have made for myself at the very beginning. At my corporate store, I did not want to appear like I didn't know things, especially because I was just coming from a licensed store that I was working at for the past year. In addition to that, I was the first under 18 hire that my store manager had hired in like 5 years. So I didn't want to appear young, I didn't want to appear naive, I just wanted to look like I knew everything, but I didn't. I realized very quickly that licensed stores and the way that they operate is very different than from how corporate stores operate. And I needed to stop and ask those questions. They were very important questions. Hearing these terms, seeing these recipes, ask questions, speak up, advocate for yourself. If you need to repeat a drink, ask your trainer and repeat it. If you have a question about a general job function, ask your trainer or ask somebody else on your team. The only person you're doing a disservice to or an annoyance to by not asking questions and just remaining confused is yourself. No one will ever be upset with you for asking questions. Take advantage of the people that already have the knowledge behind the counter. Ask them questions. Be a student. You are a student to the world of coffee, a student of the siren. Ask those questions, otherwise you're gonna be in for a very bumpy ride at the beginning. When you don't ask questions, people assume that you know what you're doing and that you understand what you're doing, and if you don't, you're in for a very rude awakening every day. Advocate for yourself, love. Next. We're gonna get in deep here real quick. Listen, I'm a perfectionist. I really am. I will be the first one to admit it. I've had to battle this like self-deprecating voice in my head for a very long time, honestly the majority of my life. And me and that self-deprecating voice, we're homies as of recently. We're working on it, we're doing the healing, we're doing the shadow work. But back then, whoo! Yeah, back then, yeah, no. We were enemies. Love bug, you are going to up. In the grand scheme of life, that holds true. We are just right now focusing on Starbucks. So at Starbucks or any minimum wage job, you are going to up. Especially when you are brand new. You're gonna up. And some people may not be very nice to you about it. Fair warning. But listen, everybody on your team is expecting you to up. That's why they're there to support you. We're there to support each other. If we up, even people like me who were 2-3 years into it, you think I was perfect? You think I didn't have any ups by then? It happens. It happens quite a lot, even to people who've been there for 10+ years. It is a very fast-paced, multitasking, attention to detail type job. But we're human, and it's hard to have total control over every tiny little detail all day long. 8 hours a day. It's all good if you spill a drink. It's okay if you hand somebody the wrong drink. 80% chance that person comes back and you can remedy your mistake, or they drive off with a brand spanking new drink that they've never tried before, and wow, look, now they have a new favorite. And trust me, don't worry about the non-dairy people, because those people, Always make sure to double check their drink before they drive off, especially if they respect themselves and don't intend to spend the entire day in the bathroom, okay? Ooh, TMI, but like, let's be honest here. Do not get down on yourself, babe. Otherwise, every single shift is going to be an absolute disaster and you're gonna sit in your car outside at the cafe every single shift crying in your car because you just had 8 hours of trauma and hell. You're gonna feel drained. You're gonna feel mentally exhausted. All the things, and it is not worth it. You are human, darling. It's cool. Up, learn from your ups, and keep it rolling. Okay, last thing, and this one's a quick one because I really don't need to elaborate very much on this one. There's really nothing to elaborate on. Ready? Here it is. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Customers are going to project their days on you. People will get mad at you over a cup of coffee, but honey, rest assured, it never had anything to do with the coffee. You know when you're having a really bad day and then you stub your toe and you just start sobbing and you're angry and all the emotions come up, you know, like when it rains it pours, you start crying, screaming, throwing up, not even in that order. You ever have those days? Well, a lot of people do. And for some people, their cup of coffee is the equivalent of stubbing their toe. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Again, refer to my point before this. You are human. It's cool. Some people are not going to be as forgiving as you would expect them to. People are gonna take their full frustration out on you over the coffee, but trust, it has nothing to do with you at all. It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any easier to handle. Yes, you will be yelled at. Yes, you will be mocked at times. Ooh, it happens and it's a part of the job, unfortunately. But any seasoned barista will be the first one to tell you, so allow me. You gotta figure out a way for it to roll off your back so that you can move on with your day. Otherwise, again, you'll be in your car after your shift in the parking lot crying and eating a 6-hour-old cheese Danish. You don't want that. I've been there. Okay, the 6-hour-old cheese Danishes aren't bad, but the 8-hour-old cheese Danishes, ooh, that's where it gets a little iffy. It's not about you, it's not about the coffee. And the quicker that you realize that and keep that in your brain consciously throughout your shifts, it'll be a much better experience for you. Also, if you are that person or you know somebody that's like that, shame on you or shame on them. Go to therapy. No need to go and make a barista cry because deep down you want to cry. Let it out, love. But not in the Starbucks drive-thru. Thank you, next. Being a barista is an extremely rewarding experience. Choose to see the positives in it. Do not get wrapped up in workplace drama. That's a whole other video that we can get into another time. I got some stuff to say about that. We could get into it later. Remember to smile. Smile through the pain. Do yourself a favor and learn the things that I wish I could go back and learn quicker. Learn from my mistakes. Well, I guess they're really not mistakes, but just don't be so hard on yourself like I was. There's really no point in that. My manager would always say this to me, whenever would go down. So I'm gonna leave you with this. You ready? Calm down. It's just coffee. Okay, love you, bye. You're gonna do great.